foundations for our team and in this very, very tough league. So it's a pleasure to have him here tonight. Can we give him another round of applause? It's good to see so many people here. You know, I like to give props where props is due. So I want to start off by the O'Leary family continuing to keep the tradition of. Colin, can you stand up for us, please? So I just want all the gentlemen to look at what a very well classy style man. That's how you should dress. And then, so I would say that Eben showed up fashionably late, but looking at how he's dressed, I would say he's just late. So I'm just saying that I'm wearing a pink shirt, and your last name's not O'Leary, so. But Eben, you did get the JV MVP, so can we give him a round of applause? Take your time. We have all night. Alright, we have a little fun. So we have a list of thank yous, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but want to give another round of applause to the sports boosters, both boys and girls, for putting on this phenomenal event and giving us a lot of support throughout the whole season and the entire year. So can we give them another round of applause? And all the administrators who left about 3 hours ago, but when they were here, it's good, a lot of support for them. The videos, Alan Ash and Jeff Pereira, awesome. That was one of the best parts of the program for us coaches, one of the worst part of the program for all the players. It's not really a fun session, even after wins. It's not really a fun session, but it's very, very valuable for our team. So thank you very much for getting us this video.
You're welcome.
Then Julie Lash for taking all the pictures. Sharon Hollis, our interpreter. I'm forgetting it. Yep.
That's all it.
No, I'm forgetting a lot of people. You know, who just continually do a lot of things that I just honestly don't know about, and that's what it takes to have a successful program, is so many people stepping up and not necessarily stepping in the limelight or any of that. Team Dinner Families is a good example of that, so many thanks to all of you, and at some time word gets back to me on exactly what you do, and I'm very appreciative of all the support that you guys give, so round of applause for all you. Some more special thanks, and I would like to invite Mrs. Blakely and Mr. Hughes up here to help out a little bit. No, they didn't do anything. Don't do them wrong. They did absolutely. The first goes to our ball boys, who get the second best dressed award. Colton and Jonathan, can you guys stand up? Come on. I'm especially glad you didn't wear the purple spandex you did one night. They do a great job, and they will be future soccer players for us, so thank you very much, guys. The second, we have a concession stand that we started this year, and we have 2 girls that were at every single home game, I believe, selling a lot of stuff for us to help this program do the wonderful things that it's doing. So Caroline and Sydney, you girls could come up here. Thank you, girls. I hope you guys are related. And the last one goes to our #1 fan. I think every single person knows who this is. And I hope you know who you are, but I want an extremely huge round of applause for our #1 fan.
Thank you very much. This is great for me. Love Miss Wiggins. Oh, I love you, Mr. Collins. Love Miss Collins. Yeah, baby! Yep.
And my apologies, Peter has also took a lot of videos for us, so we're Alan Latch's battery may have run out. Peter was great. He was at every single game. I remember going to one game. I forgot which one it was, but we had a time change or whatever, and I'm walking out the field and saying, oh my goodness, I felt like the world's worst person. No one notified Peter. And that's all I was doing. My head was down, notified. No one notified him. And then all of a sudden I heard, Coach Greene! There he was up in the stands. Doesn't miss a beat. I don't know how he knows about this stuff, but he found the time change, and he didn't miss 1 minute of our game. So,
yep. And every game will be on. Every game is on YouTube. Yeah, baby!
JB's, oh, looks like you have one more loss and one less tie. Now let's stick with the 10, 2, and 3. That's something. We talked about you. So again, very, very nice job. All right, coaches, I feel like I never say enough about you guys. I have so much, you guys are so important to this program. And then when it comes to the PowerPoint and talking about you, I totally freeze up. I don't know what to say about you guys. So I did what anyone would do, and I cut and paste what I said last year. So, I'm hoping you don't remember. Everyone was sleeping by this point anyway, so half of you still asleep right now. So, we'll start with Steve. Let's see what we said last year. There you go, head goalie trainer. Steve did a great job working with the goalies, warming them up as well. But I'm not trying to sell him short. He worked with the whole entire team. He's our perfect assistant. What he does is he takes works very, very hard to listen to what our game plan is, watches our style and all that, and goes out and reiterates every single thing that we're doing. The most valuable part of Steve that I really value more than anything else is this idea of a life coach in parentheses. You know, he's our #1 motivator. He always has that story that, you know, he doesn't say much, but when he talks, it's very, very, very powerful. You know, and his main goal is to first build up a person, and second build up a player. Very, very valuable part of our coaching staff. And I just want to give him a round of applause. And Coach Gale. Coach Gale really fills the gaps of everything, and he really is the head trainer of this program. He lets me be completely lazy on game days, and he really does everything and doesn't get his name in the paper for anything at all. But really, he implements his own philosophy. I feel very, very comfortable with him going and teaching anything at all. We've obviously built a very, very good relationship over the years, where I feel comfortable that he can just go off and do his own thing. And I know that we're going to be very, very successful from whatever he does. So, very good job, Coach Gale. Thank you very much. All right, and this is going to be a little too sad, but we obviously dedicated this season to Ernie, and this week. We'll move on. That's a little too emotional for me. But starting back at Manitou, we always do the fire, which is a good tradition for all of us. It's a fun time. It's even super fun with the Clint Rossi there too. I found out makes any campfire that much better. So the main message this year that we kind of all shared was that, you know, everyone wants to be great. Everyone wants to be a champion. I don't think anyone shows up and says, I want to be a loser. We don't want to be champions. But, you know, what are you going to do to separate yourself to become a champion? And that's what makes a champion who they are. You know, when we asked all the kids to make a decision this year, make a decision, what it's going to take, understand what it's going to take to have success, and then go out and do that. And that was the whole entire theme of the year. So moving forward, let's look at Well, we graduated this year. Last year, we graduated the #1 ranked goalie in the TBL, 4 TBL All-Stars. We graduated 2 kids ranked number 6 and 11 overall in the league. We lost our whole entire defense, starting with a defensive center mid, 2 center backs, and a goalie. So we obviously had a lot to do this year to continue that success. That was going to be very, very challenging for all our coaching staff. So we got together and we talked about what are we going to have to do to continue to bring some more success here. This list is pretty long. You can see we're going to have to rebuild our whole entire defense. We're going to need to rebuild 2/3 of our center midfield. We only go with 3. We're going to need to replace the #1 goalie in the TBL. We're going to need to replace the TBL top 20 forward and continue the offensive production. Continuing the offensive production seems pretty easy when you're returning 2/3 of them, Matt and John. But where it becomes very, very hard is that everyone now knows about management. So you have to try to find a way to still counter that when everyone knows what your game plan is. So although it seems fairly easy, it's a pretty tough task. So we get to work, and let's see how we ended up here with all that. Let's talk about the defense right now. We'll break down in the defense, offense, and goalies, and we'll see what we did this year. Starting off with 14 goals against in the TBL, 16 goals against overall. That's 3 better than last year. That's the fewest goals against that Norton has ever given up. And these stats are from when we joined the TBL. My stats are a little hazy before us, so Coach Smith, help me out if any of them are a little bit off. Every player, the most impressive thing about our defense this year is that every single player was either brand new to that position or a starter. Starting with Matt Loranger, never played outside back there. And, we had to, wow, Jared wants to go for a clap. He wasn't that good. You were the one who wants to clap. Jared's really clapping because that means that he didn't have to play outside back. That's why he's clapping. He gets to go and try to score. But no, we have Matt Loranger on the outside back. We have Charlie Hughes, that was the first-time starter at outside back as well. Elliot Areola, who played outside defense, had to learn the whole new system of being a center back. And David Ferrer, who not only did not start last year, but played outside back. So we kind of hit him twice there by making him a starter and a starter in a new position that he hadn't played. So to put up those statistics, in my opinion, is pretty successful and pretty impressive. Let's go on with our offense this year. We had 65 goals in the TBL, 66 overall. That's 6 more goals than last year, and that's the most goals that Norton has ever scored in the TBL, beating last year's record. So again, looking at some top leaders in the league, John Latch had #1 goals in the league, #3 in overall points in the league. Matt Bukowski finished in 2nd place for both goals in the league and overall points. Sean Capolini, first time as a starter, had 8 goals, ranked #10 overall points in the league. And I just fooled around with this stat, and I thought it was pretty cool. Matt and John combined scored more goals than every single team in the TBL, minus Medway. And that's a pretty cool stat, so I'll give them a little round of applause for that. So once again, that's pretty impressive that they, the whole lot.
Yep, good job. Yep, #1.
Peter likes it. Peter likes it, right, man?
Yes!
That's what I'm talking about.
Congratulations, Peter.
Woohoo, Mr. Greene.
Let's look at our goalie. Regular season, he had 12 goals against, which is a 0.67 goal against average. The next 2 stats kind of go hand in hand, but that's the fewest goal against average that we've ever had. Again, since joining the TBL. We also had 11 shutouts, which is the most that we've ever had. So although, okay. So, although Ryan wasn't ranked #1 in the TBL this year, he put up better stats than our goalie last year, which is still worthy of a lot of credit. So going back, did we recover? And you look at all that, and I think it's pretty obvious when you just start looking at all those stats that we certainly did. Not only did we recover, but we had more success than last year, which is obviously I'll give these kids a lot of credit. So moving on to all the seniors, and there's 5 of them. Tonight starting off with Jake Pereira. Jake. So everyone has a nickname. I don't know how they get these nicknames. No one ever called him that. I made this one up. He didn't have a nickname, neither one. So he just reminded me of an old wise man. Like a wizard. And you can see the strong resemblance. You know, I was trying to, like, how am I going to explain this? So I started saying, it doesn't really matter, you know, what wise old man I choose. You know, as long as they're old and wise, it'll work. I mean, this is what Jake Pereira is. He's just an old wise man. Jake's our manager, and he's really not just a manager. He really goes above and beyond. And I know what you're probably saying. You're probably saying, "Come on, Eric, he's just a manager." Well, he's not just a manager. And if you sit on the bench, you know you'll probably see that. You know, I'm probably the worst coach to be a manager for, and I know that Steve and Nick will tell you I'm absolutely the worst coach to be an assistant coach for. You're not supposed to shake your hand. I would never be my own assistant coach. It must be very, very frustrating. But Jake was always a step ahead of absolutely everything. And he always knew what I was thinking. That's what happens when you work together really, really close. And you know, I remember a couple of stories. You know, for example, we were in a game, and, you know, offside there for us. You know, I turned to Jake and said, "Jake, are you kidding me? The offsides? Jake, can you please start marking down how many offsides we have here? Coach, we already have 4 offsides. Sean Latch has 2. Matt has 1. Sean has 1. How do you do that? So then I was like, all right, I'm going to keep going with this. So, Jake, can I ask you something? How in the world... Jake, let me know if I'm crazy here. Did you hear me? Because now I'm just mad. 4 offsides. So Jake, tell me if I'm crazy here. Did you hear me scream at our forwards to stay disciplined and to watch that back line? Yes, Coach, I heard you. You're crazy. So can you please explain to me? Did you say I'm crazy? No, Coach, I didn't say I'm crazy. Can you please explain to me how we have 4 offsides? And then I walk away, and then I hear, well, when the ball was played, John was on the... It's a rhetorical question. So I don't have a clue what's going on when I call the papers. I'm lucky if I know that we have a win or a loss. And so I had to go to Jake and I said, "Jake, look, man, you gotta help me out. These guys are asking me how we score goals, and I don't have a clue how we score goals. I don't even know what the score is. I don't even know who scored. So can you please do me a favor and just start writing down the description of these goals so I can help the papers out?" So 3 games later, of course, Peter Grover's Sun Chronicle says, you know, we scored, and it's like, "Hey, why don't you tell me how Jared Kahn scored that goal?" It's like, "Peter, I don't know how to." Hold on a second. So then, just like a teleprompter, I mean, Jake, you know Jake, he's right on, so I just start reading it. Jared proceeded to dangle 4 people, Peter, and then I realized what I was reading. Can you not put that in the paper? So Jake had an incredible personality. He made my job very, very easy. Very, very fortunate to have him. So, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable even 3 years without some type of award for Jake. So kind of like his nickname, I made up an award. And I'm going to call this the Manager's Award. I think that was fitting. So this is going to Jake Pereira, the Manager's Award, for all of your efforts. All right. So who's next? Tyler Hughes. He's a legend. Again, I don't know why. I didn't make this one up. Do you know why, Justin? No one knows why. So, I don't know why you're laughing. So I like to use a comparison if I can. Well, I'm going to. I was just asking to fill some time. I'm going to use a comparison to talk about soccer players and seeds, flower seeds. because we've all planted seeds at some time in our life. And the idea is you plant a seed in some very nice soil, right? And how am I doing, Mrs. Bukowski, with the science stuff? We good so far?
My analogy.
All right, good, good. So I haven't even started with my analogy. I'm just talking about soil. So you plant the seed and you water it, and you're really starting to develop the roots. And most of us can get those roots to develop it. And then you water it some more, and that's when you're just waiting. Will it grow? Will it grow, right? And then if you're anything like me, most of the time it doesn't. Sometimes it grows, sometimes it doesn't. Don't water John's head. He's not a seed. So then you give up, and you try again next year, and you go back, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's still there. This little tiny thing is still there. So you start watering it again. And sometimes it grows, and sometimes it doesn't grow. Tyler was that seed. Now, before I go on, can we just imagine what's going on through Coach Hughes' head right now? He's one of the toughest guys in this room. He's a big wide receiver football player. And I'm comparing his son to a tulip. So remember when you said I was the most annoying person to work for? This one's for you. So, again, and I mean it truthfully, sometimes the truth of it is in high school soccer, sometimes no matter how much you water that seed, it just doesn't grow, and it just stays as a little bit of root or whatever. And Tyler, first couple of years it was like that, and then his senior year, it blossomed. And this was a very, very beautiful flower. If I knew anything about flowers, I would tell you the most beautiful flower in the world, but I don't know anything. But the truth of it is he really, really blossomed. And what I always say is, no one's going to remember the times when we were struggling to get that flower to grow. They're all going to look at that flower and say, wow, that flower is so beautiful. This is my soft side, by the way. Peter, are you taping this? Tyler made a decision this year. He made a decision that he is going to blossom. And I've been looking for this potential. We brought him onto varsity his sophomore year. Sometimes we bring kids up, not necessarily to come in and be a huge impact, but to train them for the future. And that's what sophomore year did. Junior year, we had high hopes for him to step in. And again, you water in that. And for one reason or another, maybe we didn't give him enough sunlight. I don't know, but it just didn't work out. It didn't blossom. Notice how I keep saying flowers many times as I can just to get to see Hughes tonight. But he made the decision that he is going to blossom this year, and I think we'll see that with the rest of the night with him. But he really got beat. He was a very, very good distributor, which our outside backs you have to be. We don't just stay on the back line. He was a very, very physical, tough leader, selfless leader, played tough. He's a ninja, and he's like a triple black belt. I don't even know. I pulled him aside one day. I said, Tyler, can you please just beat me up? I wanted to be beat up by a ninja so bad. And I really did. And I just wanted to see what this is all about because Coach Hughes kept saying, you should see this kid. And I wanted to see his skill. And I'm convinced that I would never see it until home game against Westwood. And I will never forget this. Tyler fouled a Westwood kid. And it was whatever. It was just a foul. Who cares? Get up. Let's move on. And this kid got up and did not want to move on, and he got right in Tyler's face. And I loved it. I didn't even move. Usually I'd move over and get the ref involved. I didn't even get in between. Oh no, I stayed right there because I had the best seat. And I said, it's going to happen. I am going to see him roundhouse this kid to the head. And it was the first time in my life, now parents, I'm going to share something with you, okay? It was don't tell the AD this, but it was the first time in my life I wanted my player to get a red card. I wanted to see this. And the kid must have sensed some type of legend from him. And the kid decided to back down. And I was really mad. So I started to egg the kid on. You won't! Coach Hughes like, what are you doing? Nothing. You're bigger than him. But Tyler just showed his discipline, and to this day I still haven't seen him kick anyone. We lost his stats. So Tyler had an incredible season, and to top it off, just to kind of show all this, Tyler is going to, he's going to get the TVL All-Star. What a defender can get it because naturally he doesn't have many stats and all that, but he certainly stood out enough where the other coaches recognize that. So he's going to get the TVL second team All-Star. He's also going to get this year's Most Improved Player. So,
Yeah, Thunder!
Feel that handshake? That was a handshake of ninja. He didn't have to say anything to me, I felt it. All right, we got Noah Freitas. Noah is, well, a bull. Again, I don't know why, but this is what they tell me, so I go with it. A bull is strong. A bull is confident. A bull is very well disciplined. Bull is a very, very well-skilled player, and you know, I'm always very, very realistic with my players, one way or the other, and I'm going to continue to be realistic with Noah tonight. You know, Noah is a very, very well-skilled player on a very, very, very well-skilled team. If you take Noah, I really think you could put him on the majority of teams in the TVL. He's probably going to start, if not receive a significant amount of playing time. And right now, again, you're on a team, and it's just, you know, sometimes that's what happens, and it stinks, you know, when you have a team having that success. You know, as you know, we're doing whatever we can. Here's Belichick. We're doing what we can to win, whatever it takes to win. Bull has he's fantastic. During one of the games, I remember the first time in Holliston, you know, I turned to the coaches, I'm like, this kid's got some skill, just sit back and watch this. Sure enough, 1 minute later, he does a Maradona around the player and passes him off. And I was so excited. I said, hey, Jake! He goes, already marked it down, 1 Maradona, no worries. Thank you, Jake. But he made a decision this year, and it's really, really one of the most impressive things with this program, and also with Noah. You know, he started off, he was on JV for the past 3 years, and he made a decision this year that he was going to make varsity. And all these players know that no one gets a free buy. Just because you're in the system for 3 years doesn't mean you get a free buy. He made the decision, and I remember every single year I'd pull him aside and said, Noah, you're improving so much, you know, given the situation. I'm not going to be able to get you on varsity this year. And you know what, I pulled him aside this year and I said, listen, you're going to be on varsity. You know, I'm not going to sit back and guarantee you playing time or anything like that. I really think that I can get you in a lot of games this year. But I give him a lot of credit because I think that a lot of kids in his situation, you know, looking at everything, you know, might take the option of quitting, saying it's probably not going to work out, but that's just not in a bull's nature. You don't quit like that. So his growth potential is fantastic. He's really the epitome of somebody where we ask you to do your job, and he does his job. He knows his role, and he constantly strives to improve and uphold himself with incredible dignity and respect. So because of all that, this year Noah is going to get the Coach's Award. All right, next is Matt Bukowski. Matt, ready? I don't know. Do you know Matt?
Yes.
You gave Peter notes.
Yes, Matt Bukowski.
You call me Ted first than you.
What's the Ray from?
That's ridiculous.
Luke gives most of these nicknames. Yeah. You just don't know what's going on with them. All right, so Matt, so Matt is a firecracker. There you go. Like, oh boy, this could go many different directions right now. But if we stop and think about what a firecracker is, I'm gonna get deep with y'all. It shoots up, and you don't know what you're gonna get. And you watch it rise, and you watch it rise, and then you hear you don't know what you're gonna get, but if you really think about it, you're never disappointed with what comes out. And that's kind of the whole idea that I think about Matt. Did you like that, Matt?
Yeah, you flipped it at the end.
Yeah, I thought of that all by myself. That was good. So that's really how I talk about him. You know, you wait for that explosion, and Matt does have, you know, an unbelievably awesome explosion. Matt's decision this year, you know, and it's very, very tough. It's very easy to take a kid like Matt and take him for granted. You sit back and you say he led the league in goals last year, so he's going to go out and he's going to produce again. And, you know, I had to pull Matt aside a couple of times and say, Matt, listen, You know, I've been around this game. I'm going to tell you right now, your game's going to be a lot different than this year. You're going to be the #1 marked kid in this entire league, and you just have to start mentally preparing yourself for that. That, you know what, that goal production may not be the same as it was last year. You know, and he made the decision that, all right, I'm going to, you know, take the guidance. You know, because I told him, look, we might have to put a whole new game plan together than what we had last year, but, you know, let's go into the season, let's stay together, and let's try to get success out of this team first. And he made that decision to do that, and I think it was a very, very good decision. First, he knows the statistic better than me, but first 4 games, if we didn't get a goal, is that what it was? First 4 or 5 games? 5 games? Yeah, he knows exactly what it is. When you say 5 and it was really 4, he gets mad. Yeah, first 4 games now, you know, I understand the mentality of a goal scorer. And again, that may not seem like a big thing, but you're leading the league in TBL goals, and now you're returning and you're shut out for the first 4 games. So I can obviously understand where he's coming from. Well, the other side of that is we're 3-1. You know, we lost to Medway the first game, and we're 3-1. So I had to pull Matt aside, and we had to have another talk. I said, Matt, I think you know what I'm going to say here. And he did, you know, which is, again, he made that decision. He goes, Coach, you don't have to tell me. We're winning, and I'm not scoring. So that's what we're going to keep doing. It's like, well, that certainly makes my speech a lot easier. You know, and it's really, really good because I'm not so sure Matt would have said that his freshman year coming in here. And without going in too much in depth with that, I think that he's really, really mature. So looking at Matt, I said, look, you know how I work. I don't really care who puts that ball in the back of the net, but at the end of the day, I get to look back and say we're in 3-1 right now in second place in the TBL. The second part of the story is you haven't scored a goal. So to say it bluntly, man, I'm sorry, I don't really care. We're winning. And he kind of looked at me, he's like, all right, I gotcha. I said, so look, this is how we're going to have to go about this, man. We're going to have to be very, very patient here, and you're going to have to understand that whether you're attracting all the players and your teammates score a goal, or whether you start going score goals, one way or the other, you're going to be the most effective person on this field and getting us to win a game. And to get a goal scorer to really buy into that mentality, I really thought was impossible. I thought I was that water seed that would not grow. Steve hates me right now. But he really bought into it, and like anything else, the first goal is the hardest. He got it. So now talking about him individually, getting that first goal, he can go on to score many others, but not taking away from all the assists and the attention that he got during the year as well. I like stats to speak for themselves. They don't tell the whole entire story, but they don't lie. And I think it tells a huge story of what Matt is this year. He has so many a little lower. You can probably read them better than me, but starting off with last year, 2013, again, TBL most goals. He was Eastern Mass. He had TBL first team. This year, he came in second place for both goals, second to John, and second place to overall in the entire league. And I compare him with John because, you know, as you guys have already found out, it's pretty cool when you have the 2 players leading the TBL in goals. It's kind of cool to watch that friendly little battle there. What else we have going on there? Overall in his career, he has 57 total points, 38 goals, and 19 assists. All these stats start off when I started coaching. I don't really have stats before that with these types of things. So he's going to come in second place in most goals and points overall since I started taking over, which is pretty cool considering that we've had a lot of phenomenal goal scorers come through here. So the very last thing about Matt Bukowski is his physical toughness. I think he's one of the most passionate players on our team, and I think he's the toughest player on our team. And all these players know that you are fully expected to play through a lot of pain. You're not expected to play through injury, but you are definitely expected to play through pain. So you're going to have to find somewhere deep down inside to get over that because you're going to be asked to play when you're hurt. And Matt did that. He didn't need much, convincing for him. It was actually sometimes we had to pull him off, say, look, we're not going to get to the injured aspect here. But we ask kids to put their body on the line, obviously be safe about it, but put their body on the line every single year. And those players that really rise to that get the Lancer Award, and Matt Bukowski's going to get the Lancer Award. And then we have Elliot Ariota. Am I even saying that right? How's it go, Nick?
Ariola.
Ariola? I didn't even spell it right? Alright. I don't even know what's going on here. He's a rock! No, really, his whole body is a rock, and his head is the head of a rock. And that's what he is. He's the rock of our entire defense. And I really, really mean it. He made a decision this year. You know, he excelled at outside defense, and it's always very, very hard when someone excels at outside, someone excels in their position, to move them out of that position. You know, it's a hard sell. But we need a center back, and he was the most obvious choice. I didn't even consider it. And I went up to him and said, Elliot, you're playing center back this year. Is that something that you could be able to handle? He looked at me and said, yeah. I said, all right, good. And we moved on. We just started training with all of that. And, you know, again, he didn't disappoint the whole entire year. He had one of the fastest kids in the league. He very, very rarely got beat because of his speed. Type of kid that you feel very, very comfortable with. Putting him back there, you know, dropping back to be the last player as well. It's fantastic in the air, and I really highlight that because he's not the prototypical center back, which should be a giant, but he didn't miss much in the air, which is very, very comforting for us. He had a very valuable throw, which got a lot of assists off of that, or at least double assists is what I call it. We don't really do that, but his throw-ins helped us score a lot of goals this year. And he made a decision. He's going to do my job, do his job, and do it very, very well. And the best part about Elliot, and it's really, really hard to explain this to people, because it doesn't sound like a compliment, but it is. You know, I tell kids all the time that you either want to be really, really, really remembered at the end of the game, or you don't want me to remember you at all. Because usually what happens at the end of the game is I remember you, and it's not for something pretty positive. All right, that's just my nature, trying to always improve regardless of what the score is at the end of the game. So if you really stand out, that's obviously good. But Elliot's the type of player that, you know, at the end of the game, you forgot what he did. And again, when you say that, it sounds like it's really, really bad. Like, how can you do that? But that is the epitome of what a player should do. I'm going to do my job. And when people are doing their job, you take them for granted and you say, okay, you're doing your job. You know, you expect that Elliot's going to stop and break up this defense. You expect that Elliot's going to sprint back, you know, when the goalie got beat and save a goal. You expect that, so you don't highlight that. And, you know, that went on for the past couple of years that he's been on varsity, is that he's always done his job very, very well, and always done everything that I've asked him to do. Unfortunately, you know, you can go back, look at the papers and all that, you're not going to see his name in the papers. He's not going to get all that glory. So when you're talking about a prototypical unsung hero, this is a prototypical unsung hero. Elliot Ariola.